So let's go have a walk around the Tank Museum's Helmand Exhibition. Find that quite poignant, some of the names on there, particularly the last one, Worcester, bearing in mind my cap badge in the Army Cadet Force was the Worcestershire and Sherwood Foresters Regiment, now the Mercian Regiment. So I do find that quite touching. So we have the jackal. You can see there all the external stowage on it. There's been a really good effort to show that. The jackal, of course, is still in service. Quad bike, something that was ubiquitous in Afghanistan, particularly for this, carrying equipment. You can see there ammunition, water. That was vital. We have a scimitar, which is fitted with bar armour, being worked on by two mechanics. Quite a nice little exhibit, that one. It does show you the height of the vehicle. It's a very small vehicle. Notice the new boxes for holding cameras on arms that will swivel in and out. You've also got the electronic warfare platform at the rear. That's often overlooked. Someone did suggest jokingly, I think it was David Willey, that could be used as the commander's place to put his mug of tea and coffee. You can see here the damage done by IEDs. You can see basically the front of the vehicle has taken severe damage. The back is relatively intact. It's got the remote weapon station on the top. On this Panther is actually a prototype version. The damage on this one I don't mind showing too much because it was actually done during testing to evaluate how safe the vehicle was from an IED. So moving around, a little bit about IEDs, you can learn about them. Chance for the kids to actually dress up and have a look at how they look in the kit, in the early desert pattern kit. You've also got an illustration of what the MTP version looked like. You would generally see either MTP or desert gear. The Royal Marines were wearing temperate pattern for the green zone. The only time you tend to see mixed on the MTP is, as we have here, where the webbing was often an older pattern. So we've got a Viking, again with bar armour. You can see there again the electronic warfare item. Very common thing that you see there, the webbing, rather than being worn inside the vehicle and then struggling to get out while wearing it, stored on the cupola. That's very, very common. So obviously the Viking was an articulated vehicle. It was used a lot by the Royal Marines, by the fire support groups. It could also be used as a troop carrier, recovery vehicle, and it was also used as an ambulance. Again, we have various headsets so you can listen to information about various things. Then we come into what's very nicely done. We've actually got the base area. There are nice touches. The SpongeBob SquarePants duvet is one of my favourites. But you'll see lots of nice bits of kit here. For example, you've got the improvised weightlifting equipment using jerry cans and poles. You do see a lot of that around. Obviously various bits of kit from various regiments, Queen's Royal Hussars, the Royal Tank Regiment, various bits and pieces you can see there. You've got a brew up station. Let's be honest, you wouldn't actually have a British base without that. I particularly like the you use it, you wash it, don't leave it for some other poor, and then that crossed out word. Yeah, it's nice to see little touches of realism. One of the most useful items the British Army issue, the Norwegian. That can be used to keep things hot or cold. It's basically a giant thermos. Very useful bit of kit. Various chairs, books, puzzles, things like that. As we come round, so some of the things squaddies do to pass the time, these are the cleaner versions obviously, Scrabble and cards. We've got javelin, anti-tank missiles that are obviously used extensively in bunker busting. Okay, we've got a shower, yeah. Always a nice little exhibit to see things like this, because they're the sort of thing that you don't see. Talking about personal hygiene, commuting from home. Now, some people think that's actually a mortar. It's not. It's actually a urinal. And a standard toilet. And then we've got a little bit on things like unit videos. Obviously, people were very keen on creating their own operational videos, and a comfort box. For those who remember these, I remember collecting stuff together to send out with possibly one of the most favourite squaddy items, Haribo. I don't think the British Army could have survived Afghanistan without Haribo. And the classic camp cot. So, very nice exhibit, which I think really shows off a lot of things. And something I hadn't noticed before here is we've actually got a HESCO entranceway complete with a firing position. Nice touch that you actually have the ammunition box to actually stand on. And I saved this deliberately for last. The memorial for the Royal Armoured Corps. And unusually for me, I'm just going to let the video play out in silence, because I think it's appropriate that we all just pause and consider people who give up their lives in Afghanistan. If you do know somebody, take that minute to think about it. I'll be thinking of Private Brian Tunnicliffe from the Worcestershire and Sherwood Foresters. He is the only guy I've ever met who could take 3 paces with his arms and 2 with his legs. So he alternated tick-tocking and marching normally as he went.